Aaron Judge is a better version of Brock Lesnar.
What is something you love as much as the Charmin Bears love wiping?
As an opposing fan, you'd probably see his face and want to sock him between your cracks.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to today's episode of Losses Above Replacement, the best baseball podcast to grace your ears. I'm today's host, Alex Clark, joined by our very own 7th and 8th starters in Mathias Altman Kurosaki and Ryan Splash Potts, my main men. It is actually a pretty cold day here on the Pacific Northwest. How are you guys doing overall?
Doing decent. The allergies have not been pleasant this spring. There was a lot of stuff in the air when I was in North Carolina, and there was a lot of stuff in Central Park this week. Other than that, New Yorkers are in good mood for the most part. Hey, Splash, your Cavs are. I've been enjoying watching that series. All right, as an outsider. There's some baseball too. AJ Ewing made his debut yesterday. AJ Ewing's very fast, it turns out. I don't think I could beat him in a running race. Other than that, same old. I've decided I'm going to go to Sacramento for Summer Nationals this summer. Unfortunately, I looked at the calendar, and the A's will not be in town. So I will not get fortunate like I did last summer. But
you need to call the Nationals committee and say, "Hey, yo, dog, need to rework the time because the A's aren't
so I
in
can
town."
go to an A's game." I also learned that I will be home alone for about 2 months after I get back because
fun.
my parents are taking an extended trip to Japan. I mean, they're going to be gone from like the middle of August to the middle of October. So, yeah, fun stuff going on. Also, my nephew, it seemed like he enjoyed his first trip to New York. So that's good.
It's always great to hear, man.
I must ask, do you think AJ Ewing can beat the Freeze in a race?
It's a great question. Where are they starting from?
Let's say
is it warning track to warning track, same time?
Warning track to warning track, pole to pole.
I think that'd be close. I don't know. He got to third in about 11 seconds yesterday, so maybe.
Did you see the guy that was racing against the Freeze and tripped and fell just as he was about to win?
Yeah, that was brutal.
You hate to see it.
He almost had it.
He really did.
Yeah, it'd be like that. It's been an okay week. I did get my wonderful memorabilia from the Orioles game. Definitely talking about this cup.
Nice cup, good cup.
Yeah, I got a Tupac bobblehead.
Yeah.
Yep.
That is amazing.
All eyes on me, baby. Let's go.
You know, when I went to the Orioles game in 2022, they were giving away some weird NFT.
Oh my gosh.
I never claimed my NFT.
Oh,
good.
So, oops.
Yeah.
I had zero interest in it, if I'm being honest.
Darn.
I have major problems on that front. I'm here. It has been an interesting week nonetheless here, although I'm a little disappointed the weather for this coming weekend is not looking as good. I have a golf tournament on Saturday and play ball on Friday here. Noel Bays, always good to see you. Thanks for dropping on by. And Ralph, absolutely correct. That is a very sick bobblehead. I love it too. Here, but we want to go on a bit of a serious note. Here, we have a lot of fun on the show, but it feels like it just keeps going here. We are going to lead off this podcast today with another bit of sad news here, as Bobby Cox, the legendary manager here, passed away on the 9th here, aged at 84. And there are very few, not even just like managers, but people in baseball that had the personality that Bobby Cox had. He, just like my guy Lou Piniella, was a master of knowing how you can affect your team through your own emotions here. And I mean, that goes into, he holds some major league record for the most ejections all time ever with 162, which I found very apropos given how many games are in a year. Here, funny enough, though, I'm doing a little bit of research here. Do you know who the person who he won the record from was?
Is it
Earl
someone
Weaver
from
or
like
Billy Martin?
the 1900s, right? Or
Or
like
I can't
early
remember.
1900s or early
It's very
baseball?
early 1900s. The person was born in the 1800s. That should give you an idea.
John
It's John
McGraw?
McGraw. Yeah.
Okay.
Right. Yes, it was. Yes.
John McGraw won another legendary manager, depending on who you ask. But no, Bobby Cox is one of the all-time greats here. Has been to the playoffs more times than you can count. Was with the Braves for a long, long time. In fact, 2 different tenures with the Braves. Well, tenure depending on how you want to describe it. But no, he is one of those managers that will go not just Hall of Fame. He is a legendary level manager here. That when you think of a baseball manager, he's one of the first guys you're going to think of. He is one of the ones who defined what it meant to be a vocal manager specifically. He was not the quiet leader. No one would accuse him of being the quiet leader. But what he did do is that he motivated his team and he showed that you are allowed to have passion. You are allowed to have energy and you are allowed to fight for your team. And whether or not it was him getting his money's worth or, just working with every player that he had the chance with, not even just at the major league level, but did have a little bit of time in the minors as well here. But for Bobby Cox here, one of the greatest to ever do it, gone too soon, fellas.
I mean, yeah, it's as for my formative years as a baseball fan, Bobby Cox was managing the Braves, and yeah, I mean, every player you hear being interviewed or just talking about playing for him, I mean, everyone loved playing for Bobby Cox, and he had his players' backs. That's the big thing, is that he wouldn't just get ejected to get ejected. He got ejected to show his players that he cared. There was Jeff Francoeur talked about the first time he got ejected in San Diego, and obviously Bobby went out and got ejected too at the same instance. And they're leaving. He's like, like Skip, what do I do? I've never been ejected. He just talks about how he would send in at the beginning of the year, he would send $50K to the league office to cover whatever inevitable fines would come his way. But yeah, I mean, the dude was legendary, and even some of his health battles just show what a fighter he was. I mean, he had a stroke in 2019. There were multiple times in 2023. There was a time where it looked like that was going to be it. I mean, he's kept on fighting until his final days. So yeah, Bobby Cox, one of the all-time greats, and yeah, he'll be missed.
I actually have a different Frenchie story I want to share. So it's Frenchie's in spring training, I think 2005, 2006, right near the end of the division run, right? And he gets the opportunity to play golf with Tiger Woods, but it's during the middle of spring training. So Jeff Francoeur, like 22 years old or whatever, goes to Bobby Cox and says, Tiger Woods invited me to play golf. And Bobby Cox is like, absolutely. I want you to, your first at bat, swing at anything, ground ball. Then when you run to first base, I want you to rub your ankle. I'll come out, pull you out of the game. You can go play golf with Tiger Woods. So Francoeur hits a ground ball. He runs to first. He's rubbing his ankle. Bobby pulls him from the game. And then he goes and plays golf with Tiger Woods. And then the next day, his wife or girlfriend at the time sends him the newspaper headline. It's like Francoeur dealing with elbow soreness, ankle soreness, and he's just laughing because he just spent the entire day, the previous day, playing golf with Tiger Woods. But that was the kind of manager that Bobby Cox was. That was the kind of man he was. Every player, it seems like, has a story like that. I'm sure every clubhouse person in Atlanta, both at Fulton County Stadium, at Turner, and I'm sure plenty of people at Truist have, memories with Bobby, and you have all the spring training memories too. And it's been a really difficult week for Braves country. I would argue that they lost the second and third most important people in the history of the Atlanta Braves. You can debate which order. I'm not here to do that. Outside of Henry Aaron. I don't think there's a more integral figure to the Atlanta Braves than Ted Turner and Bobby Cox. And it's just, as a Braves fan, as someone who grew up going to Braves games, going literally to Turner Field and literally watching Bobby Cox manage and seeing some of the ejections and seeing, the relationship he had with the players, and the umpires. And that is something so special. And it's special to be a part of Braves country, right? It's not just a fan, it's the Ravens flock, right? I'm a big Ravens fan, but Braves country feels different. It feels like a family. It feels like home, and literally it's home for me in Atlanta, but it just feels like these are my people. These are people that I would go to war with, go to war with 162 times a year plus the playoffs. And just the reason for that is Ted Turner and Bobby Cox. And they made the Braves being America's team a reality. When Ted Turner said that originally, it was a joke, right? It was comparing the Braves, who were awful, to the Dallas Cowboys, who were the preeminent dynasty at the time. Crazy how things have changed. But 50 years on, the Braves have one of the biggest fan bases in the country. They are we're on TVs everywhere for decades and decades. You go to, any corner of the United States and you will find Braves fans, maybe not as many as Yankees fans, but, you'll see Cubs fans, Dodgers fans, Braves fans, right? Just about anywhere you go. Mets fans, I'm sure, are all over the place too. But it's just a special group to be in, and that you're only in that group because of what Ted Turner did and what Bobby Cox did.
Absolutely. And it has been a really rough time for Braves country. And you know what? Here, I think we can all in this moment just be, empathetic towards that feeling here for it. One thing I want to bring up here again, Bobby was never known for stats, right? He was never known for the only stat I think that we could really talk about here forever would be how many times he was ejected here. But I have one more really cool stat I just found here. So as a manager, his managerial record, winning percentage was .556. That's pretty darn good for a manager. And to give you an idea of how good that is, if he were, let's say, for example, if he managed for a few more years and lost 500 straight games, he would still be over 500. He would still be over 500 by 3 games. And then there's also 3 ties that are in there. How? But you know what? I'm not going to get into that right now. But no, Bobby Cox is one of the greatest of all time. When it defined an entire generation of managers and a whole archetype of managers here as well. So before we move on here, I actually want to throw things over here to our audience here that's listening right now. What did you feel about Bobby Cox? If you have any cool Bobby Cox stories, go ahead and leave them in the comments. We'll read it as long as they're appropriate. We'll we can share them. But just we want this now to be a space where you can share these cool moments, because as much as it is sad that Bobby is now gone from us, it is so abundantly clear the positive effect that he has had on so many others here. So the fact that, again, a manager is one of the most important figures in the history of an entire sports franchise here, and that part is not disputable. That shows, again, just kind of the effect that he had. But let us know, how do you feel about Bobby here? Let us know some of your fun stories about Bobby Cox.
So while we're fielding those, I'm going to talk about the streak.
Please.
The Braves won 14 straight division titles from 91 to 05 with 94 being lost to a strike.
Mm-hmm.
I have my sincerest doubts that will ever happen again. Look at the Dodgers. They're a super team. They're God's gift to humanity. They have won the NL West 4 times in a row. The Giants came in and won 107 games.
Yeah, people may forget that.
Yeah. So the Dodgers, like the greatest, dynasty of our age, have won 4 titles in a row. And I think before that they'd won like They'd won a couple in a row.
8 in a row leading up to that.
Yeah, they won a nice run, and then the Giants won 107 games. That's just kind of how it goes. And it's not even that the Braves were the only team in the NL East or NL West back in the day that were that good. They beat out the Giants, sorry, XYZ Ballin, by 1 game back in 93, right before they instituted the wild card.
104 wins, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. The Giants, it's exactly what they did at the Dodgers, but the Dodgers had the chance to win a wild card game and then beat the Giants at the playoffs and then get wrecked by Eddie Rosario. Thank you, Eddie. But back to the point, the Braves played in a good division. The Phillies made the World Series in the span. Now, they weren't division rivals. They played in the NLCS that year at the time, but the Mets made the World Series in 2000. The Marlins made the World Series twice and won the World Series twice as a wild card team. But every year the Braves were good to win 95 games and win the NL East or NL West back in the day. And that consistency is just not, like, you look at other sports, that doesn't happen. Like, as good as what Tom Brady did in New England, they didn't win 14 straight AFC East titles. Felt like it. They didn't. There was a year Brady was hurt, and they were second to Miami. The Spurs under Greg Popovich, Tim Duncan, they made the playoffs every single season. Yes, in a league that had over 50% of its teams make the playoffs, but they didn't win the Southwest Division every single season. There were a couple years Dallas beat them. There's Houston beat them. But every year for 14 straight years, after finishing last place in 1990, the Braves won the division. And that's just preposterous. That's a testament to the buy-in that Atlanta had, that just showing up was 90 wins. Now, yeah, you can quibble with the team of the 90s label that they earned after the 95 World Series and then subsequently lost to the Yankees. You can quibble with that. You can quibble with calling them a dynasty. That's fine. But the 14 straight division titles, that's not something that the Yankees ever did with Ruth and Mantle and Gehrig and all their history of players. Cardinals never did that. Giants never did that. Dodgers aren't going to do that in all likelihood. Like, it's just, sorry, it's not going to happen. And that's just a sort of a magical feeling. And I know it came crashing down, and you could argue maybe they need like 05 to squeeze out every single win and maybe sacrifice the future. Probably not. But, 14 straight division titles is unbelievable. And it's one of the more unbreakable team records in the sport.
Yeah, and also they still got 3 NL pennants from 95 to 99. That's still like impressive. It's not like they were making the playoffs and getting bounced in the first round every year. He was taking them deep nearly every season. And every out of the full seasons he managed, he only had 2 losing seasons, 06 and 08. And he even got them back to the playoffs as a wild card team in 2010, his final season. He was brought in as a midseason hire in 1990, and he earned that full-time job and kept it for 2 decades. So,
you know who brought him in, Mac?
Brought who in?
Who brought Bobby Cox in to be the manager?
In 90?
Yes.
Bobby Cox was the GM. Yeah.
Yeah.
He brought himself in, and he, I remember when the Marlins GM Dan Jennings became the manager, and then they hired Don Mattingly and fired Dan Jennings. That doesn't always work out.
One of my favorite bits of information from the whole Ted Turner Bobby Cox thing. When Ted Turner fired Bobby Cox back in the early 80s,
yeah,
they asked, "Oh, well, what kind of manager are you looking for?" "Oh, one that's an awful lot like Bobby Cox. We'd probably hire him again." We didn't just fire him. It's just like perfect. That's exactly what exactly who Ted Turner was, exactly who Bobby Cox was. And just think about it for a moment. If you began your career in 2013, this would be the first season you would be eligible to have 14 consecutive division titles.
Correct.
Who were the best teams in 2013? The Boston Red Sox, led by David Ortiz, who was in the Hall of Fame already. St. Louis with Michael Wacha as a rookie. He's still cooking, but Michael Wacha as a rookie was on that team. The league MVP was Miguel Cabrera, who actually isn't in the Hall of Fame yet.
He'll be there soon.
Yes, he'll be in there very soon. Andrew McCutcheon in the National League. He's still playing, which is kind of crazy.
39.
That's just the context you have here. That's just a preposterous run that, again, that's never going to be duplicated. And even if you want to be pedantic and say, well, it's actually from 91 to 05, so that's even 15 years, 14 titles. That's probably not going to happen again.
Yeah, no. I will say,
I mean, obviously, we'll never know how the 94 season will end, but the only reason that the 94 Braves weren't leading the NL East at the stoppage was because the Expos were just that good, guys.
Yeah, true.
The 94 Expos were nasty. That being said, the Braves probably, if they had a playoffs that year, who knows what could have happened, but those Braves probably could have still gone toe-to-toe with those Expos.
Yeah, I believe that would have been the first year of the wild card format. So they would have likely been the
brought it in
top
95.
National League wild card team and maybe beaten the Expos anyways. Because
that's a series that baseball was like completely robbed of.
Yeah,
absolutely.
I bet an Expos Braves playoff series that year would have been crazy.
And guess what? That would have saved Montreal baseball in all likelihood.
Probably.
Sure, would it have gotten them a new stadium? That's the question. It needed to.
I mean,
95 is entirely plausible.
95 got the Mariners a new stadium, so
you're not wrong. That is a very fair point.
I think it's entirely plausible if you play out the 94 season that you get a more positive outcome, and the Expos are still the Expos nowadays, as opposed to being the Washington Nationals.
I could agree with that.
Is it a guarantee? No. They could have lost their last 50 games or whatever. Not going to happen in all likelihood, but yeah, that's a shame.
They were 74-40 at the time of the stoppage. I know.
It's just ridiculous.
Absolutely insane. But yeah, let us know here some of your favorite Bobby Cox moments here. As for us, it is time now for our question of the day. And I have it for us this time around here. And in honor of Bobby Cox here, gentlemen, what is your favorite ejection in Major League Baseball history?
Ooh.
Doesn't mean it is like, it doesn't have to be one that turned into something good, just one that's memorable.
Okay. Does it have to be Major League Baseball? Because there's a AA ejection that I particularly like.
No, go for it. Yeah, no, absolutely.
Okay. I think I'm blanking on his name. I want to say Bob Wickman, but he was a reliever, not a manager. So I want to say 2006. It's mid 2000s. It's at the time Mississippi Braves. Their AA manager absolutely lost it on every umpire in the state of Mississippi, or I don't even know if they were in Mississippi for that game, but he covered home plate in dirt. It was throwing things everywhere. It's just if you pulled cartoon ejection and you search that up on your clip art, it would be this man losing his absolute bananas in that game. But in all sincerity, I think my favorite is probably the JT Realmuto one, getting thrown out for handing the ball back to the umpire. That one's pretty funny. True. Kyle Schwarber losing it on Sunday Night Baseball is also top tier. The Raylo and Soler fight was pretty good, even though the best moment was Walt Weiss
tackling tackling Soler.
Of course, Walt didn't get ejected for that, but
didn't get suspended or anything. Yeah.
Shout out to Major League Baseball for that one.
Yeah.
Right.
I think if I'm talking Major League ejection, it was not a manager. It was Paul LaDuca in 2007. He took a pitch inside that was called a strike. Sort of was disagreeing. Gets back in the box, kind of looks at Marvin Hudson, the home plate umpire, and he gets ejected. Just for looking at the umpire. And he just completely lost his mind through everything on the field and all that. That's one of my the first ejections I remember watching live on television. He was just going insane on the dude. But if I'm talking about a manager one, this is technically this guy was my old coworker, Cash Beecham. He was managing an indie ball, and he was so pissed at the umpire he threw his shoe at the umpire. I don't know how that happened. He had a hot temper, just to say that. And he that's what ended up happening. Obviously, honorable mention to Bobby Valentine, who maybe didn't have a super animated ejection, but came back into the dugout with a disguise on. And by the way, at the end of the month, the Mets are giving away a Bobby Valentine disguise at Citi Field.
That's incredible. All right, I have two. I have a serious one and a funny one. The serious one, I was going between two, and I ended up going with the one that most people probably know, and that is Lou Piniella throwing the base.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely legendary moment. I will say, as a brief runner-up to that, I was there when Lloyd McClendon lost his mind against the umpire. Started kicking his hat everywhere. But the best part about that ejection, though, is that a team assistant picked up the hat for it and gave it back to him, so he kicked it again.
Is that the one where he like ran around the bases giving business to every umpire? Oh yeah, that was awesome.
So good. But the funny answer, I do not know what level of baseball this was here, but there's a story about an umpire that ejected this manager for yelling about the strike zone. And the umpire told him, I need you to go where I cannot see you here. And so the manager went and stood on home plate.
Yo.
And I'm like, oh, that's so good.
There's one story I saw. It was a manager. I think it was spring training, but the guy's like, I need you to throw me out in the first inning. My wife is having a baby, something like that, right? Oh, yeah. He has to get away from the ballpark, but he wants to do it, to fire his team up, right? They've been in a slump, and he goes to the home plate umpire before the game and says, whatever you call, I'm going to disagree with you. You throw me out. So the first inning, first pitch, the umpire looks over and the guy doesn't say anything. And the umpire's like eyes go super wide, like, dude, I'm trying to give you a way out. And the second pitch, he's like, yada, yada, yada. The third pitch, F you. Yeah. So I don't remember who that story was from, but I find that story to be hilarious.
That is amazing. I love that. I will say I have actually had an experience like that when I was umpiring, where a coach just needed to get out here or something. And this is for like select baseball, right? And basically is like, look, your call was right. I'm just trying to fire up my team here, and like we're gonna make this look like it's. That you're going to eject me here, and it's all going to be fine. And I just went, if that's what you want, sure. And so we kind of just played it out, and it is still one of my favorite moments here because we really played it out here. But then afterwards, I talked with him, and he found out here he had to go pick up like a kid from like school or something here, and
that's reasonable.
Yeah, that's reasonable. And so I will say here again, please, I'm not going to say off the record because that's not correct here for this either. We're on a live podcast being recorded for YouTube. But I did not write him up on it here because normally you're supposed to write them up so they can get, suspended, fined, whatever.
Yeah.
I'm like, no, guy had a reasonable thing and he was cordial about it, so.
I will say, working in the league office of a baseball league, I got to read a lot of those. Some of them were pretty entertaining.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
While we're on the question of the day topic, for Medi, what jersey am I rocking? Nate Landman. Yeah, the only Zimbabwean NFL player. So
that's quite the jersey to have. That's awesome, actually. Yeah.
Do you remember what the name was here? Because you saying that just reminded me. Who was the Australian kicker or punter that played?
There's quite a few of them nowadays.
No, it was like he was like an every position type player except for quarterback. It wasn't not kicker. Was it running back? I think he played for the 49ers. Because it was a big deal like a decade ago, which makes me feel really old. But I remember I played as him a lot in Madden just because it was funny. But
I can't. That's a great question. I'm not sure. Yeah, a lot of specialists nowadays are Aussies.
Aussie, oi, oi, oi.
Like Michael Dixon's an Aussie, correct?
I know it's the what's his name? The Giants had the Scottish Hammer.
Yeah, he just got drafted into the CFL.
Oh,
Yeah,
nice.
I know the Giants had enough of him.
All right, we're going to move on here to our next topic as we actually have a trade to talk about. There have been a few trades, but we wanted to highlight this one in particular here, and that is that the Guardians are getting a little extra defensive help for the backstop here as they are acquiring two-time Gold Glover Patrick Bailey here from XYZ Ballin's Giants here for a compensatory pick and another minor league player. Gentlemen, this move kind of baffles me. I'm gonna be honest here with y'all because the the Guardians catching room is kind of generational here. Like legitimately looking at that backstop room that now includes Austin Hedges, one of the best framers in the history of our game. Here, also learning how to hit finally. Patrick Bailey, now legit one of the best defensive catchers out there. And also now you have David Fry that also has positional eligibility here for playing in the infield as well. So they're playing very much like the 2022 Blue Jays when they had Alejandro Kirk, Danny Jansen, and I cannot remember the last one for the life of me here.
They had Gabby Moreno for a little bit.
They
traded him for Varsho.
Moreno. There's another one here. Bo Naylor got sent down to AAA to work on hitting because his hitting was atrocious. And his defense was not doing that much better. So, tell me what you guys think about this move, because when this news came through, I just went, really? Sure, okay, I guess.
I mean, I think the Giants had sort of run out of patience here with Patrick Bailey, and it's tough because he's so good defensively. Like, I mean, talk about just defense only, basically. I mean, he has negative offensive value for his career on Fangraphs. He's negative 48.7 on offense, 102.4 on defense. So he is a total Fangraphs WAR of 10.1 this year, but 10.1 on his career. But this year, his offense has been so bad, he actually has negative Fangraphs WAR, despite being well above average defensively. His WRC plus is 11. That is not good. That will not cut it. Every year we wonder, will Patrick Bailey finally learn how to hit? And this year he lost his starting job because he couldn't do anything with the bat in his hands. I mean, Daniel Suzik looked like he was coming alive. Unfortunately, he's injured. Jesus Rodriguez has been hitting. Eric Haas just hit 2 home runs in a game yesterday. The first Giants catcher since Bob Melvin to do that. 2 homers against the Dodgers. But, I mean, yeah, Pat Bailey at this point had run his course in San Francisco. The thing is, for the Guardians, it's so weird to say that Austin Hedges is the offense-first catcher right now because he is not an offensive player. But he has a 121 to OPS plus in 57 plate appearances. I know, huge sample size there. But Bo Naylor was not cutting it. Frankly, he doesn't do enough with the glove to justify keeping a 24 OPS plus on the roster. So they're going from one guy who couldn't hit a lick behind the plate to another guy who couldn't hit a lick, but is a generational glove. But they also gave up. I think this is just me, waffling here, but Tugboat Wilkinson, Matt Wilkinson, it feels like a steep price, not just because of his nickname. This year he has a 1.59 ERA in AA, 36 strikeouts against 9 walks. He's become a solid prospect beyond just being nicknamed Tugboat. In 24, he struck out 174 batters in 118 innings and a 1.9 ERA. So even though he took a bit of a step back in 2025, Tugboat is probably a solid big league pitcher coming up. So I'm a little surprised the Giants even got this much for a guy like Bailey. Right. I know for as great as his defense is, his bat is just a huge net negative. So you know what? Good for the Giants getting something out of this. They also get a first-round pick, basically, or a competitive balance pick. Yeah. And the Guardians, maybe they try to unlock something here with Bailey. because he really, really is excellent behind the plate. If he can just be like an 80 or a 90 WRC plus guy, he's one of the best catchers in the sport.
One of the things that's I wanted to I thank you for bringing up the draft pick. I understand like that trading draft picks in the MLB is very weird because it almost doesn't happen, right? Because you're not allowed to trade most kinds of draft picks. There are some you apparently now can here, and some of these are the competitive balance picks here. And just to give you an idea of how good this first round draft pick is, this is the 29th overall pick. So here's the thing. For those of you that like football, this trade looks even worse because it is a solid overall. It's like a pretty darn solid rookie pitcher in Tugboat Wilkinson, but also a first round pick. Like, that is actually kind of insane the more and more you think about that. Here, but we'll see what goes on here for it. Maybe the Giants figure out something here with Bailey, but the more and more you look at this trade, the more and more that I can't help but just think that the Giants fleeced.
I must be a baseball nerd because I have an opinion on this trade. But yeah, like you guys have said, if Bailey could hit at 60, 70, anything, then it's worthwhile having. Not to go back to the Braves, but when Maddox would pitch, he had his own personal catcher who was not Javi Lopez, right? Because he didn't trust Javi Lopez. That was a willing trade the Braves would make to have a much, 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 much worse offensive catcher than like a really great one in Javi Lopez to appease Greg Maddux. One, because he's Greg Maddux, and two, because Maddux could kind of hit for a pitcher, so he made up for some of the lost production. If Patrick Bailey in the Giants lineup that is atrocious for some reason, I picked them to make the playoffs with. If you're Patrick Bailey and you are the worst hitter on a bad team, you are expendable, like Orlando Arcia last year. If you are Orlando Arcia All-Star on the 2023 Braves and you have a historic offense, you're not noticing when Orlando Arcia is not doing anything, right? When he's like an 82 OPS plus or whatever, or the worst hitter in the team, because he plays great defense. He's not dragging down the rest of the lineup because the rest of the lineup is awesome, which is funny because he goes to Cleveland, and Cleveland has improved. They are much higher in run scoring metrics than they seem to be usually when you bring in Chase Delauder, although Jose Ramirez has not performed at Jose Ramirez levels. You've called up Travis Bazzana. So generally, I think the outlook for Cleveland is better than certainly San Francisco and better than a normal Cleveland team. So maybe the Guardians can swallow the bad offense for a little bit. And I actually did talk to Arian, former podcast guest Arian, about the trade. And of course, he's a Guardians fan. He just his Guardian sources are like, we want catcher defense above all else. It doesn't matter if you can't hit. And yeah, I guess that's fine. Austin Hedges, if a guy's on, he'll bunt him over. He has good enough bat control to do that. Bailey is a switch hitting catcher. The guys on Race and Barrels pointed out that if you were designing a player to take a long time to develop, it would be a switch hitter and it would be a catcher. And I do want to address the comment that XYZ Ballin made. Tugboat sort of reminds me of Shota. I'm sure he'll pitch well for someone else when we trade him. I kind of see it. Like it's not like a Aroldis Chapman fastball or anything, but it's like low 90s, mid 90s, but great induced vertical break. He can throw it at the top of the strike zone and get a ton of strikeouts. So hopefully he pitches in the big leagues. Maybe not this year, but maybe next year. Oracle Park is a great place to pitch. So maybe he would be successful there. And unlike Shota, who has the weird Wrigley Field dynamic of sometimes the wind is blowing out, it's really hard to hit home runs in Oracle. So maybe the pitching at the top of the strike zone fly ball profile would work better.
I could say also Oracle Park, amazing place to watch a baseball game. That ballpark is absolutely beautiful.
I need to check that one off.
Absolutely. And the last notes we have on this trade here, because this one is one that I think is going to look very interesting if you give it 2 years. This is one where if you're going to let Patrick Bailey play it out a little bit more here, then maybe the offense develops a little bit, and then the Guardians have their catcher of the future here. If not, then did the Giants just fleece and get a great, another great pitcher and a first-round draft pick? And as for the comment here that was just brought up here about Bo Naylor, he was sent down to AAA. Do they trade him? Potentially.
I can see it happening.
Yeah,
I think
they have other catching prospects that they like.
Yeah, and also like Naylor has sort of like Bailey. I think he's run his course here. He's gotten his opportunities to play at the big league level, and he hasn't done enough with them. I'm not saying his career is a wash, but I think he's maybe a guy who could benefit from a change of scenery. And also, the Guardians have other needs, so yeah.
I have to say this here. I don't know if it's the perfect fit here. I like the idea of him coming to the Mariners.
I can see that working for him.
Yeah, like
reuniting with his brother.
Think about this for a sec. Ken Griffey Jr., when he first started, was good, not amazing here, and he had trouble here. Yes, he was still very, very good.
Are we? Whoa! Are we comparing Bo Naylor to Ken Griffey Jr.?
No, I'm not comparing. I'm telling an anecdote here. Let me get there, Splash. But no, one of the things that helped Griffey stay strong here mentally was they brought in his dad. They signed Ken Griffey Sr., and like it has been very well documented that move is what helped Griffey learn how to be a major league player and helped get him to be in that same kind of mindset. Maybe, a change of scenery and a familiar face is what Bo needs.
There is a team that did just lose a $15 million a year catcher to an injury again. I don't think Bo Naylor really has a fit in Atlanta, but he might be better than Sandy Leon.
I mean, I know another team that just lost their catcher to a torn meniscus, and is probably just looking for warm bodies for their roster because 5 of their 9 opening day starters have been injured at some point this year. 4 of them are still currently on the IL, so I'm not saying the Mets necessarily need to go out and trade for Bo Naylor, but they could probably use like another warm body on the roster because they're starting to run thin here. Okay.
What's Patrick Mazeika doing nowadays?
Great question. I don't know. Is Patrick Mazeika still playing organized baseball? Because I was a big Patrick Mazeika fan.
Actually, either of us could trade for the currently injured Travis Torno.
This is true.
Yeah, sure.
Patrick Mazeika, I'm looking at his baseball reference page here, is listed as a catcher, pinch hitter, and first baseman. I will say that's the first time I've seen a pinch hitter as your labeled position on Baseball Reference.
It's very rare, but also he is an alum of Stetson University, the alma mater of Jacob deGrom, Corey Kluber, and Logan Gilbert. So
there's no news on him here. The last stat line that we have for Mazeika is in 2022.
Yeah, it looks like
he played. It looks like he briefly played in the Mexican League this year.
All right. I do want to bring up that the getting the 29th pick, I think, is less important about getting the 29th pick and more important about getting the bonus pool money. That is something the Giants can say, hey, top 3 prospect, we are going to give you potentially a little bit more money. I don't know the draft players well enough besides Roch from UCLA and
Cholowski,
Justin LeBron, I think from Mississippi State. I don't know any other names, but you could make a compelling case to one of the top picks to say, hey, we're going to spend more money than the number 3 team or number 2 team or number 1 team scale wise and say, hey, we're going to pay you more money. Come to the Giants. And then with the 29th pick, you go lower down the board. Maybe you get a senior that can't go back. So they'll take lower amount of money, or you'll go lower slot. You'll maybe pick someone in the 40s on your draft board as opposed to 29. So teams love doing that, and that's probably the most important part of getting the 29th overall pick is getting the balance pool or getting the draft pool money to use this year.
Yeah, absolutely. And like that's one thing as well. Like it's also just always nice whenever you do get, another touted prospect here for a player that you have seemingly given up on here. But, again, the trade makes sense for both sides. I think this is going to be a very interesting one, again, like I said earlier, to review in a couple of years here, because this could either be This feels very okay. This is gonna sound kind of odd here. This feels kind of reminiscent to me, at least, of the Pineda Montero trade, of like where both sides are getting ones that have a very obvious upsides to them, but really turned into kind of a nothing burger by the end of it. I'm not saying that's exactly what's going on here, but I feel like it's the same kind of principle where you really need to see how this one's going to play out, but it's going to take a little time. All right, with that being, wow, my voice is completely cracked there. Wow. Blah, 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 blah. There we go. With that being said, it is now time to move to our next topic here. And we've been talking a bit about injuries here just a little bit ago when it came to catchers. Let's talk about some pitchers that are coming back from injury here over the last couple of weeks. There's been a lot of big names that have finally been able to toe the slab again here. And, let's just start with the one that my main man Splash is obviously like just fiending to talk about here. And that's one Spencer Strider, who had a left oblique strain here and has now made a couple starts here. So, Splash, tell me a little bit about Strider, what you've seen so far from him after coming back from injury.
Yeah, so he's made 2 starts, one at Colorado, one at the Dodgers. The Colorado start was just really a classic core start. He didn't have command of his fastball. He didn't have command of his slider. It was exciting to see the curveball thrown for strikes and thrown for whiffs. So that was good, but the command wasn't there. He walked a bunch of batters, had an early exit. The Braves were able to salvage it because it's cores. But his second start at Dodger Stadium, the middle game, you just lost the night before after a brilliant Chris Sale start. And Spencer Strider says, "Welcome back, buddy. I am the mustache man himself." And he just shoved it right down the Dodgers for 6 innings. Just had Shohei Ohtani in knots. There was nothing the Dodgers could do. It was special. And it's not 23 Strider. The velocity is never going to be that. But he was throwing 96 with a couple 97s once in a while. And he was able to hold his velocity for the most part through his start, which is encouraging. And I think the most encouraging thing, we know the slider is good. That's an awesome pitch. It's one of the best pitches in baseball. The fastball is not quite what it used to be, but now he has a third offering. He's not fastball slider man anymore. He has a curveball. He's mixed in a changeup, and those pitches look more viable than they were in 24 when he got kind of lit up by the Phillies and then had his abbreviated outing against Arizona, the 6th game of the season, before he lost the entire year to internal brace. And then last year he was just brutal for a decent chunk. It was a kind of like a sandwich season that the brutal chunk was in the middle and he was okay before and okay after. But it was really encouraging to see him back. And, you have Sale and Elder, who have been 2 of the, 5 best pitchers in the National League. Yes, that Bryce Elder, who's been unbelievable for some reason. But yeah, Strider looked really good. He looked back. He looked confident. And that's honestly what you've missed from Strider, in that in 22 and 23, unless it was at Citizens Bank Park in the playoffs, basically, he looked like, I am a bad man. I'm going to strike you out. If he did, great. If he didn't, he doesn't mind because he's going to strike the next guy out. But that was really encouraging. And I do want to mention Carlos Rodon in a similar vein of, former like top tier pitcher, like a Cy Young contender. I thought he looked okay. The command, again, like Strider, wasn't great. But Milwaukee's a tough lineup to face from a whiff perspective. It's tough to battle through, and Churio's going to foul off pitches, and Turing's going to foul off pitches, and Contreras is going to foul off pitches, and they're all going to be a pain in the buttocks. So I thought Rodon was okay, nothing special.
Fair enough.
Yeah, I mean, I want to see if Strider can be, or he can learn how to pitch effectively without the velocity. And I know that's one thing. I know Jacob deGrom is Jacob deGrom, but Jacob deGrom does not throw 100 miles per hour consistently anymore. But I noticed this, especially last year, he's learned how to navigate not having that elite velocity. We've seen it with the other guys. Noah Syndergaard, I remember, was, this fireballing, righty who he was Thor when he was, at his peak with the Mets. And then it looks like completely lost the ability to pitch after he got Tommy John surgery. Like, does Strider know how to pitch with 95, 96 as opposed to, 99, 100, 101? And yeah, Rodon, I think, is significant here. The Yankees are banged up. They may have just lost Max Fried today. they're still probably a ways away from getting Garrett Cole back. So and they've lost 5 of 6. They were one of the hottest teams in baseball, and now they've lost 5 of 6. So they need Rodon to step up, be sort of that second ace behind Cam Schlittler for the time being. But that's a huge shot in the arm for the Yankees. Even if he's like 70% of what he was last year, it's a big time. It's a big time addition to the rotation.
Yeah, and that's I think the biggest thing. So with Spencer Strider, actually, I'm gonna not forfeit my time. I have a question specifically for Splash here. When it comes to Strider, here you've talked about how the rotation has had its injuries over the course of everything. Here, where do you see him now slotting into the rotation with guys like Bryce Elder that are playing exceptionally well?
If you were like re-racking like after the All-Star break or into a playoff series, I think he's your 2 behind Sale. You can quibble Strider or Elder, and maybe that's a matchup thing, maybe or a rest thing, because Elder, in classic sinker baller fashion, pitches better on regular rest when he's a little bit tired. So so his sinker stays down, right, and his pitches stay down unless he's trying to throw a 4-seamer up at the top of the zone, which Bryce Elder is throwing top of the zone 4-seam fastballs. I don't know what bizarro world we're living in, but hello. Well, that's a Strider thing to do.
I mean, at least they're 4-seam fastballs that are at the top of the zone and not at the top of the head.
Yeah. Shout out to Justin Robleski for trying to decapitate Mike Yastrzemski. Anyways, I think that's just a situational basis. So depending on rest, Elder is going to, I would believe, pitch more often. He's been like a bit of a rubber arm, and while Strider, he missed all of 24, basically pitched like 6 innings. And in 25, he missed a lot of the year. He was on the IL 2 different times, and he's already been on the IL this season, and you don't want to like overwork Strider. But I think if you're like Dodger Stadium for the NLCS, it's Sale in game 1 and Strider in game 2. You could make the argument, maybe if you won game 1, you push Elder in game 2. If you lost game 1, maybe you put Strider in game 2, but that's just a Walt Weitz question. And then I think beyond Strider and Elder, you are praying you get Schwellenbach back. Maybe he can get a clean time through the order or something like that, because he is genuinely unbelievable, and I'm a huge fan of his. And then beyond that, I think I don't think Atlanta is like a true number 4 right now, but I think they have a lot of the Martin Perez type, the J.R. Ritchie, who's a rookie, Didier Fuentes, who was awesome yesterday. In theory, Ronaldo Lopez, but he's been a disaster this year. But I think those guys, Grant Holmes, I'm sorry, they can, I think, get through a lineup once, which I think is great for October. It's going to be tough in the middle of May, but in October, I think they could go through the Dodgers once, or go through the Cubs once, or go through the Brewers once, or the Padres once, or the Phillies once. Sorry, Mac, I'm not going to mention the Mets here yet. The Pirates once, maybe. I don't know. But I'm not going to trust them to go through a second time, while I would trust Strider. Elder, believe it or not, he's getting closer to that fringe of trust. And then Sale, of course, I trust him with my life.
Mm-hmm. Fair enough, yeah. And I think I feel very similarly. I think right now I would probably lean closer to Elder a bit higher, just because of the health here. And with Strider, we have seen that he can be a little streaky, especially coming back from injury, but also he's Quadzilla. Absolutely legendary. Splash, that's something you wanted to... sorry, Matt, you had something you wanted to add on?
I mean, I think I lean... Maybe it's just because I value the stuff a bit more, but I'd personally have Strider above Elder, just because we've seen this from Bryce Elder before. Granted, I think Elder's stuff has gotten a little better. Maybe working with Greg Maddux has done some good for him. And then it really depends on what Schwellenbach is like when he comes back, assuming he does come back. But yeah, it's not a rotation I'd want to face in the playoffs, especially, I don't know, the Braves are scary.
The Braves are they're in such a weird position right now, because they're not playing at full strength, and it feels like they're still strong here. And with that being said, here, it just makes you wonder, what would they be like at full strength? And their pitching rotation, yeah, I think is very much built for October. Here, you've got your number one ace guy in sales. You've got here, hopefully, a Schwellenbach that can do amazing work. Elder is a guy that you could throw in a game 4. Here it's Strider for game 3. I think that's a pretty darn strong 1, 2, 3, 4 for any sort of series at that point. But
yeah, and I just appreciate that AA and Walt had a conversation in the offseason. Walt says, give me a bench and give me some depth in the starting rotation. And it's really helped. And you have the unheralded, the Mauricio Dubon, Dom Smith, Jorge Mateo. Like those guys have just been unbelievable this year. Dom had a 4-for-4 game the other night. Mateo has had some key hits. Mauricio Dubon has had multiple game-changing plays just in the last road trip, and it's like that's just something the Braves haven't had. It's been, you trust your stars for 162, and it's Olsen, Albies, and then Dansby or Arcia, and then Riley at third. That's been the infield like 155 times a year, every year in theory. You have Harris play center, and you have Ronald and right. Your left field's been a mixed bag in the Arizona, a DH for such a long time, and it's been so refreshing to see, like, all right, we get Mauricio Dubon, different kind of player than the Braves have had. Or, like I said, Mateo, Dom Smith, Kyle Farmer has played a role. And it's just been a fun year. And like I said, I think the rotation is really built for October, and the bullpen is sensational. Like you have Iggy, Suarez, Dylan Lee. I struggle to find a team with a better top 3. Yes, Mason Miller is better, so maybe you can argue the Padres are better by that fact. Fine. There are better relievers, individual relievers than Suarez or Iggy or Lee. There's not many better lefty relievers than Lee. I will plant my flag there. But Suarez and Iggy and Lee, you can they threw Suarez in bases loaded against Max Muncy. He got him out. Thank you, Eli White, for your services. But that was unbelievable. But you have the strength of the bullpen to do that. Not every other team has 2 top 10 closers in the game, top 12 closers in the game, and then Dylan Lee's a great lefty, and now you have Didier Fuentes, who one time through the order can pump 99 by you. Sure thing.
Yeah, absolutely. So there's a couple of pitches. We'll just kind of go through these ones a little bit quicker here. Bryce Miller is also coming off of a left oblique strain, and it is actually pitching right now. He is currently on the bump here, taking on the Houston Astros, and through 3 innings has just given up 2 hits, has struck out, here we go, double checking here, not struck out anybody, has not walked anybody, has given up a double here to Zach DeZenzo and a single to Yordan Alvarez. So through 3 innings against a pretty strong offense, I'll take that. But now it makes the question of what do you do with the rotation, and the Mariners have already addressed this, that they are going to be running essentially with a kind of 6-man rotation here, where it is going to be it's going to be everybody, but they're going to have here. Oh my gosh, I can't believe I lost the name there. Pulling that up once more here. It's Luis Castillo and Bryce Miller are going to be kind of piggybacking off each other until both of them kind of get into the right spot. Luis Castillo has not looked good. I'm just going to be honest here.
Yeah.
I love him, man. I love him to death. He is an amazing human being, but he's been struggling. And I think even he will tell you that here. So putting the 2 together to kind of piggyback, maybe that's the solution here. Plus, it means that you don't have to send down Emerson Hancock, who has been arguably one of the best pitchers of this already stacked rotation. He has been playing out of his mind the last month and a half.
Yeah, and you bring up an interesting point with Castillo, because there are pitchers in the Mariners organization that, if you had to ask Logan Gilbert, for example, to be a reliever, not for the regular season, but in a playoff setting, I think that would work well. Or Kirby would be fine. I think Wu would be unbelievable with the fastball. Oh, yeah. I think Hancock would be fine. I think Bryce Miller would be fine. Luis Castillo just screams like he's a starter. Put him on the bump to start the game. And not every starter I feel like can become a better reliever. I think there's pitchers that are pitch better as starters and pitchers that pitch better as a reliever. You have the Mizorowski or DeGrom or Cole or Strider would be unbelievable relievers, but they are more valuable chewing up 6 innings. But then there's other starters. Like, I don't think Max Fried would be a particularly good reliever.
Right.
He does have he has a big mix, but the big mix is more helpful to be a starter, right? But when you have like Castillo, who's more of like a wily veteran, and he doesn't throw as hard as he used to, doesn't throw as well as he used to. I like him as like the opener, quote unquote, and then have Miller as the piggyback as the branch to the bullpen, to the Bizardo, Munoz, Ferrer part of your bullpen.
Don't forget.
I mean, the thing is the Mariners are sort of just in a weird spot with their rotation because Wu and Hancock and Gilbert, I feel like for the most part, that front three, I've been a fan of. I mean, Hancock in particular, I think honestly he could maybe benefit from having a 6-man rotation. But I mean, I'm a fan of his stuff this year, really.
I feel like he's done well enough that if you tried to send him down, you would get so much backlash.
No, I don't think
there's no universe you send him down.
Unless his his struggles from his last start, like unless that it persists, like there's just no way he gets sent down. But I do wonder, and we saw this last year with Toronto. They put Chris Bassett in the bullpen, and he was great out of the bullpen. If the Mariners make the playoffs, Luis Castillo has been their weakest link so far. I think, honestly, I'm going to go in the other way. I think that's a guy I would consider maybe having him be in that Chris Bassett role, being a swingman.
I don't disagree with that at all. In fact, I think it might be worth it just to let him throw hard. A little bit this. Sometimes it is really just as simple as just let it out of your tank. You have to kind of hold yourself to be able to throw that long. To throw 6 innings and all that. Just have 2 innings where you just unload everything you got, and sometimes that can be exactly what you need. We've seen it that a number of times, but also I want to give one last talking point here before we move on to the last 2 here before we go to trivia. And that is that Bryce Miller is a pitcher that I think has really earned his position of being a starting pitcher in this rotation. And I'm going to tell you the exact game that it happened. It happened in the playoffs last year against Toronto. He had a start when everybody was tired. Because you just came off of a 7-game series, a full set against Detroit that went into extra innings. And then next day you have Toronto, basically. And they're just like, all right, go for it. And go for it he did. He pitched one of the most masterful games I've ever seen from considering the situation, I should say. Because he came in knowing that not everyone was out there, and he had the cowboy mentality of, I got this. And got this, he did. So, with that being said here, we're going to talk about 2 more here and just keep it fairly brief on these 2. I like to call them the Blister Boys because it is Nick Lodolo and Trevor Rogers, both of them dealing with blisters. Nick Lodolo, a blister on his left index finger, and Trevor Rogers with a left toe blood blister, and also a illness that has not been reported. Just illness, as they say for it. So, listen, I know we joke that it's like one of these injuries is not like the other when it comes to blisters, but just think about this for a second. If you have a blister on your hand, you're actively doing everything you can to not use that hand. Because it hurts. Even if you drain it, put the moleskin on, put a Band-Aid on it, all that stuff, it's still going to hurt when you put pressure on it. And it's going to hurt pretty darn good. Now, take that if you're a pitcher that takes a ball and holds it tight for these pitches. No, it doesn't work that way. It just doesn't. I don't know if any of you have tried to throw a baseball with a blister. That hurts. And it cannot be done. It takes away all of the control, all the velocity of your pitches.
Well, Alex, consider, you know what else hurts? Landing on a blister.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
That has to be horrible for day-to-day life. There's injuries. I broke my wrist once. You can still do a lot of the things you normally do in life with a broken wrist, but a blister on your foot, it hurts to walk.
Yeah.
Like, or a broken leg, you can't walk, literally. But I'll touch on Lodolo because I frankly don't think the Orioles are a serious team, and I think we can like ignore them. But the Reds are above 500 with their negative run differential, and Lodolo is going to be a key part of the run prevention side of that equation, and especially with Hunter Green still out, should be back in the second half. That he steps in with, the Louders and the Burn. Chase Burns has been really good this year. And Andrew Abbott has kind of turned things around, but he's going to be a key member of that rotation for the moving forward. And he helped him make the playoffs last year. He pitched to a 3.3 ERA in 150 innings. And this year, if he can give the Reds, 100 innings of sub 4 ERA, that will play.
Absolutely.
I mean, yeah, that's the thing is the Reds got off to that hot start. Now they've lost 8 out of 10. Like, they need all the help they can get, especially if that offense is going to sort of stagnate the way it has right now. I mean, Sal Stewart has gone cold. Brian Hayes just does not hit this year. I mean, it feels like their entire offense has just hit a rut right now. They're going to need all the help they can get on the pitching side of things. So that's how they're going to win games. So that's a big time, addition to the rotation, getting Lodolo back. And in theory, that's on paper, it's a great rotation. Now it's about, can they all stay healthy? Because it feels like it's an issue every year with this team. They're never all together in one piece, at least on the pitching side of things.
I think you brought it up best here that it's the team needs all the help it can get. The NL Central is becoming a lot more competitive. Here, you have the Cubs that are making moves. You have the Pirates that are playing baseball, I guess. Here, you have like the competitive level of that division, even if the team quality may not be as great as some other divisions, the competitiveness is right there, and you need every bit that you can get here. So with that being said, here, I think we're good to move on to trivia. Here, you guys all right? So for trivia today, I hand the reins off to Splash for a very familiar type of game. Splash, it's all you.
Hello, friends. The Bid McPhee game is back. In case you missed it the first time, here are the rules. I will unveil the categories. You have the option to select first or your opponent. Or you select the category for your opponent, or you may bid first on the category that your opponent chooses. Players bid a number based on how many answers they feel they can name. Each turn, a player may raise the bid or say McPhee to stop the bidding. When McPhee is called, the player must list one answer for every number they bid. If a player successfully satisfies the bid, he wins those points. If he does not, the challenger does. First to 20 points, or if all 6 categories are exhausted, wins. I made it a little bit more difficult this time, but we do have a new rule. Similar to the Wikipedia game that I have used a couple times, you can name a player multiple times if you wish. For example, if you were given last 5 National League MVPs, Shohei Ohtani would be the correct answer twice. So you would say Shohei Ohtani, that would be 2. I will clarify if there is a spot that there is a repeat answer. There is one topic today that does have a repeat answer, and it is clarified on the document. Okay. Fellas, your topics for today, are runs are runs.
I saw a few things on there. Like, what?
2004, future, out for a run, Charlie Morton, and 62.
62, okay.
Well,
yes,
what were those previous slides though, Splash? I saw something about Alex with the misfire, and I'm like, oh, it's for the scores. Oh, okay. Got you.
All right.
Okay.
Mac, you won the last time, so you may choose a category or you may choose to go first.
I'm going to choose a category. I'm going to choose 62.
All right, 62. Alex, you may bid. Who on the players who have 62 hard hit balls this season?
Oh. I'll go 1.
Okay, 1. Mac.
2.
2. Alex.
3.
Mac.
McPhee, I got nothing here.
All right, okay. Alex, name one of the 11 players, name 3 of the 11 players who have 62 hard hit balls this season. It's the top 10 with a tie.
Okay. I'm gonna say Aaron Judge.
And Mac, you get 3 points.
Yeah.
Oh, what? Oh my God! All right, good thing I bailed there because That was gonna be my first guess.
So I'm gonna tell you
Yeah,
right
I
now,
got
the
nothing,
two that
dude.
were in my mind were Shohei and Judge, and neither of them.
Neither of them are
this
here.
list.
Wow.
You got Jordan, Drake Baldwin, my guy, O'Neal Cruz, Freddie Freeman, Michael Harris, also my guy, Otto Lopez.
Otto Lopez? What?
Unbelievable.
Brandon
By the way,
Nimmo?
the Mets traded Brandon Nimmo, Matt Olson, the GOAT, Andy Pajes, Fernando Tatis Jr., who has yet to hit a home run.
There's
by the
0
way,
home runs. What? Yeah.
and Bobby Witt Jr., who does have a home run of the inside the park variety. So
Wow.
Mac leads 3.
All right. Thank you very
I'm
much.
pretty sure in the last game, I was the only person to say McPhee, and you won. This time, you said McPhee.
Yeah, I was strategic there because I.
No,
I
honestly,
had,
fair. No, you played it right.
I had no chance there.
All right,
Yeah.
Mac, as the winner of that one, you may choose a category, or you may force Alex to choose a category.
I'm gonna make Alex choose a category.
All right.
Cool. Quoting my main band, Squidward. Let's go. Future.
All right, Mac,
boy.
you must bid on the top 10 prospects in Major League Baseball right now. I looked at it today on MLB Pipeline, so maybe it's updated, maybe it hasn't. I don't know. You must tell me the top 10 prospects right meow.
How
many can you name?
I'll start with 1.
All right, 1, Alex.
2.
2, Mac.
3.
Alex.
McPhee. I don't know any of
Yeah,
them.
right.
dude.
Mac,
oh my god.
name 3 players who are currently top 10 prospects on
3?
MLB Pipeline's list.
I don't even know who's still prospect. I have to think of who's still prospect eligible. I know one of these guys is ranked highly, but I don't know if he's high enough to be top 10. That's the issue. Colt Emerson.
Correct.
Oh wow, I was actually right there. Okay. Now I have
he's
to think
number
of 2
5.
more guys. Okay, so I got Colt Emerson. Whew. Seth Hernandez.
And Alex, you have tied it up, my
Darn.
friend.
Let's go.
The answers, I'll do it in order here. Connor Griffin, still on
Max
the list. Jesus Mate, Leo DeVry, Sebastian Walcott, who's out for the year, Colt Emerson, Max Clark, Trey Savage, still, Eli Willits, Walker Jenkins, and Joshua DePaula.
I should have had some of these, man.
Yep, I'm with you. I should have thought about some of them, but no.
All right, Alex, you may choose a category or force Mac to choose a category.
I will choose the category here, and I'm going to go with 2004.
All right,
Ooh, that's a good
2004.
one.
Party like it's 2004. Mac, please name players born in 2004.
1.
To be clear, this is not, if 2005 doesn't count, 2006 doesn't count. They must be in the year of our Lord, 2004.
1.
All right,
You know, I'm going to say McPhee because I can't think of one.
Oh, brother. All right. Name
All right.
one singular player.
Mets just called him up yesterday or on Monday. AJ Ewing was born in 2004.
Yep, that is correct.
Yeah.
You got Roman Anthony.
Have fun with that,
Daniel
bud.
Basayo,
Yeah, no, I wasn't
Jackson
getting any
Chourio,
of them.
Justin Crawford, who homered today. Bryce Eldridge, AJ Ewing, Kevin McGonigal, Jetixon Paez, Albert Urania, and Denzer Guzman. So Mac leads 4-3. I will tone down the difficulty maybe a little bit next time. But
I mean, I could have gone with a few more there, but
a good,
All right.
Yeah,
good
I
category.
should
All right.
have gone to 2, but no.
All right, McCorkle, it is your time, buddy.
let's go out for a run. What the heck is that?
All right,
Find
out
out.
for a run. Alex, please name the players who are top 10 in sacrifice flies right now.
So for the 2026 season.
Career. No, like
Okay.
active players.
Active. Okay.
So, for example, I don't know, Matt Olson, who's not on the list. I don't know if he has any sack flies this year, but it's his entire career of sack flies.
Okay. All right. I can do 3.
All right, 3. Mac.
4.
The bid is 4. Alex.
McPhee, go for it.
All right, 4 players. Mac.
That's a tough one.
There is a tie for 10th, by the way, if you can't tell.
Oh, okay. Now I have to think of guys who've been in the league for a while. Andrew McCutchen.
Andrew McCutchen is correct. He's 2.
Okay. Oh, wow. Okay. Now I'm just thinking of guys who came up a while ago. We're still in the league after a century, basically. Go Marcus Semien, maybe.
Alex, congratulations. You take the lead.
Let's go.
Alex leads 7-4. The correct answers: Nolan Arenado, who was actually first. Mookie Betts, Xander Bogaerts, Freddie Freeman, Bryce Harper, Francisco Lindor.
Oh, how did I forget Santana?
Andrew McCutcheon, for me, Carlos Santana, Eugenio Suarez, and Mike Trout.
The three that came to my mind when I for that three were Mike Trout, Carlos Santana, and Kutch. No, sorry, Freddie Freeman. Freddie Freeman was the other one.
All right, Alex, your time is now. You lead 7-4.
Your time is up. My time is now. We'll go Charlie Morton because I think it's just him that and runs our runs.
All right, Charlie Morton. Mac, name the active leaders in hit by pitches by pitchers. I do have a caveat here. Jose Barrios and Yu Darvish are in the top 10, but they have not pitched this season, so I do not count them as active. So I do have number 11 and number 12 on here to replace them.
Gotcha.
2.
Alex.
So, okay, just making sure. Active, that does not mean for 2026. It means over the course of their career, correct?
Yes, their career. So,
okay.
For example, Charlie Morton had like 200 hit by pitches in his career. He didn't have 200 in a season, although he tried.
He damn near tried.
He did try.
I'll go 3.
McPhee.
Okay. So I'm just going with trying to think of as many older pitchers as I possibly can that are getting to, end of the rope a bit.
Okay.
Let's go first with who's an old pitcher? Oh, I just lost his name. What was it? Oh my gosh. It was a starter that's been around for 15 years. For Texas. Okay. I'll come back to this one. For first now, I'm just gonna throw out DeGrom. He's been around for a while.
Mac, congratulations.
Yeah,
How many points was it?
That was 3.
All right, it is tied once again at 7-all here. Your answers today: Chris Bassett, Sean Manaea,
Wow.
Carlos Rodon, Chris Sale, who leads the pack, Max Scherzer, Framber Valdez, a little apropos, don't you think? Justin Verlander, Zach Wheeler, and Ryan Yarborough.
Okay, I had a feeling Scherzer and Verlander were there. I could not think of a third guy.
I feel honestly ashamed that I did not think of either Framber. I did not think of Framber, Verlander, or Scherzer.
Of course, Sale, the back foot slider type deal that Sale gets a lot. All right, runs are runs. Mac, you may choose to pick the category, or you may choose to go first.
I'll choose runs are runs.
All right, Alex, you may bid MVP and 50 steals in a season in the same season, to be clear. So, for example, Brady Anderson, who did not win MVP, did have a 50 steal season. He had a 50 homer season and a 50 steal season, not in the same season. So this must be MVP and 50 steals in the same year. Okay. Alex, you may start the bidding. There are 10 answers. The yellow ones are highlighted. That is the same player. So you can bid him twice if you want to.
Okay, I can do 2.
All right, 2.
3.
Alex. 4. Mac.
I'm going to try to do 5.
5.
Go for it. Have fun.
All right, for the win. You got to name 5.
All right. And it's the same year, right?
Yep, same season.
All right. Ronald Acuna Jr.
That is correct. 2023.
Shohei Ohtani.
Shohei Ohtani is correct. 24.
Ricky Henderson.
Ricky Henderson is correct. 1990. 2 more.
Ichiro.
Ichiro 2001. That is correct. For the win.
Oh, my. Now I have to think for the win. Who is a 5th person? Now I have to go run. Oh, I think this guy won MVP. If I'm not mistaken, Maury Wills.
That is correct.
Let's
go.
Is a winner.
With a 12-7 win, Mac secures
Cujo Morgans. Wow.
Ronald Acuna, Barry Bonds, Ricky Henderson, Barry Larkin, Willie McGee, Joe Morgan again, Shohei Ohtani, Ichiro, and Maury Wills.
I
Congratulations.
love how I got Maury Wills, but not Barry Bonds.
Yeah,
I didn't realize Barry stole 50 in a season. I knew he stole 40.
Yeah, one of his Pirates MVP seasons.
Yeah.
All right. Barry Larkin in 1995, by the way, that was a strike-shortened season, still had 50 swipes.
That's impressive. That's very impressive.
All right. Good job, McCorkle.
Congrats, Mac.
Next week.
Thank you. Yep, I'll
you
be
get
doing
trivia
trivia
duty
next
again.
week then.
All right, but thank you so much for putting together another version of the Big McPhee Gate. Always, honestly, a fun time. Yeah, I really enjoy it here. Maybe tone down the difficulty just a little bit.
I like that last category was actually like I thought pretty attainable. It was just some of those were really difficult actually, which isn't necessarily a bad thing.
All right, but it is now time for the moment to ourselves. We take a moment to talk about anything that's on our mind. It does not have to be baseball related, but it absolutely can be. Gentlemen, would either of you like to go first here today? Not all at once now. All right. I guess I can go first. All right. Okay, someone please count me down.
Yep, 1 sec. Let me just pull up my stopwatch. Your time starts in 3, 2, 1, go.
Scalpers, get a job. Legitimately get a job. I have now been to, again, people know that I'm a Pokemon fan. I like the trading card game, video games, all that fun stuff here. If you think a job is standing outside of a vending machine for several hours a day, making it so then others cannot buy things here purely so you can buy them to sell them for a larger markup. Or if your idea is, I'm going to go to Costco at 4 a.m. here, and I am going to be there in line and then just go whoop and grab everything at MSRP. So then you can sell it for double the price. You are a waste of space. Your opinion does not matter. And you do not deserve to breathe. Legitimately, you are a waste of a person. Get a job. There are job applications everywhere here. Do they pay great? Not always, but at least it's an honest day's work. But if your idea of making money here is not letting people enjoy things, not letting people enjoy a children's trading card game, I think you need to have a long look in the mirror and ask yourself, what the heck am I doing?
Honestly, fair. That just makes life more difficult for others. I don't understand.
I ran to scalpers.
I hate scalpers, man.
I ran to scalpers.
They're the worst.
On my lunch break, I went in, and there were 3 that were huddled around the Pokemon vending machine. They're at the front here, and I'm like, okay, whatever. I was already kind of mad. I went in to go get shoe inserts because I just got some new golf shoes. Came back out, they were still there. This was 10 plus minutes here, and then I just kind of shook my head, and they respond. They're like, "Hey, fat boy, why are you shaking your head?" And I'm like, "Get a dang job." Not my proudest moment, obviously, but at the same time, I think that people can make a very respectable living selling and trading cards. Here, there's a lot of places that do that and do a lot of really good business that way. They do not do it by huddling outside of a vending machine here, or by buying from markets to then sell on Facebook Marketplace.
Yeah, and even I got the bobblehead, right? And it's already going on eBay for $200. So there were people that probably got $30 tickets. I got a $30 ticket, so I'm not shaming that, but got $30 tickets or multiple $30 tickets for that matter. Walk in, walk out with a bobblehead, go find a different gate, walk in, walk out, get another bobblehead, walk in to another gate, walk out with another bobblehead. And I mean, that's the Orioles gave away 15,000 bobbleheads, but I'm sure there's a couple hundred of those that were scalped or intentionally sold. You go to a game to not watch the game, you just go to get the bobblehead and sell it. And someone offered to buy my bobblehead. I was leaving, I was going to get Boog's Barbecue. Shout out to Boog's. They're like, oh, hey, $50 for the bobblehead. Like, no, the only reason I came was for the bobblehead. I spent more than $50 like on the ticket and not Uber. I guess I did Uber once, but like the whole ordeal was more than $50. I'm not giving up my bobblehead. That defeated the whole purpose.
Yeah.
I was going to give you the bobblehead. I should have just stayed at home. But yeah, I get your frustrations for sure.
I've seen this at Met games too, where there's like a giveaway and like you're like, oh, I missed it or something. Like, I'm willing to buy it. I'm like, dude, I don't think I would want to sell this for money, man. Like, there's a reason it's a giveaway.
I remember years ago they had I went to this game specifically for my mom here they had these Dan Wilson Funkos here, and there were also limited edition versions of them that were like 1 out of 1,000 or 1 out of like 100 that you could randomly get that were different jersey variations. This dude came up to me because I was there with my aunt and my grandma, and this guy had a huge bag like this big full of them.
Nah, that's so wrong.
Yeah, and was like, hey, I'll buy any extras you have off of you. And I was like, okay, how much are you saying here? Because it was going to take a crazy number anyway. And he goes, I don't know, $5. And I went, I was like, yeah, bye. Move along.
Actually, the one time I remember, I think one of my friends, they were doing Luke Weaver. What's his name? No, not Luke Weaver. It was Brett Gardner back. Dumb, smart. It's 2015. Brett Gardner back giveaway. And my one of my friends, we were leaving the game, and someone was like, I really want to bring one back for my kid. And one of my friends who was there, who isn't the biggest baseball fan, the guy offered him like $50 or something. That's like the one time I've seen like someone actually go through on that.
Fair enough at that point. All right, would either of you like to go next?
I can go next.
All right, sounds good. Your time begins in 3, 2, 1, begin.
Yeah, I'm seeing a lot of posts about how bad the Knicks were when I was in high school. Just gonna take a second to reflect on that. They were terrible. I remember watching starting fives of guys who were mostly getting 10-day contracts, but they basically played a full season. I remember my freshman year of high school watching a squad of guys who obviously they were good enough to make the NBA, but had never been more than 5-10 minutes per game in their careers. And all of a sudden they were playing 30-35 minutes per game. So the fact that, they are going to their second straight conference finals. I remember when it was big news when they won 2 games in a row. So yeah, it's really quite something to see. Yeah, I'm looking forward to whoever we face next. Maybe it's Splash's Cavs we face next. Actually, that'd be a pretty entertaining series. But yeah, looking forward to it. It's crazy, even if they don't make it to the finals or win the championship. Knowing where they were when I was in high school, when I was early in my college days, it was impossible for me to watch the NBA just because of how bad the team was. And now they're perennially competitive, at least. So yeah, shout out to all the fans who stuck through it, through thick and thin, because you guys deserve it. We deserve it. Maybe who knows what happens in the next week, but don't let anyone take this from you.
Live in the moment and have fun. Just enjoy sports.
I am not looking forward. I think the Cavs are losing right now. Update. Yeah, they're down 8 at the half.
I mean, that's manageable. They've given the Pistons, I think, everything they could.
Not in Detroit though. Yeah,
but the games have been close. You know what I mean?
Sure, but I don't exactly trust. James Harden. I don't exactly trust James Harden to
at age
do
36.
the right thing in the final moments on the road. And the Cavs have to win a game in Detroit. I do not trust them to do that. So maybe they'll win again, game 6 and force a game 7. I don't exactly have faith in them to win said game, unfortunately. So, I'm glad the Braves are a Dubon home run.
Nice.
All right. I want to give a big shout out to Mike Yastrzemski. The haters said he would never recover. He has recovered. Actually, that could be my moment to myself.
Sounds good. You ready to get started with your moment to yourself?
Sure.
All right, your time begins in 3, 2, 1, begin.
Shout out to Mike Yastrzemski. He hit his first Braves home run last night. There were a lot of, Braves podcasts and whatnot saying, should we bench Yastrzemski? Should we put Dubon as the everyday left fielder when Ronald's back? And it's like, sure, there's pros and cons to that. You kind of remove some of the flexibility you have with Dubon, putting him into one spot every single day. But Yastrzemski is a veteran. He has been a good player. Sorry, my alarm went off. He has been a good player for a long time. And I think his history speaks for itself. And I think over the course of 162, the water will find its level. He is not a bad hitter in his career. And you would argue he should be an even better hitter in Atlanta compared to in San Francisco and a little bit of time in Kansas City. And, I trust that he's going to figure it out. And I have no problems with him being the platoon, the heavy side of the platoon in left field every day or in right field when Ronald's out. And at a certain point, you have to trust the process. And a lot of the Braves, the process has been great. The results have been great. The process has been great. Drake Baldwin's been awesome. Ozzy's been awesome. Olsen's been awesome. But with Riley and Yaz and Ronald, I think you have to have some patience. And they're big leaguers. This is not the first time they've playing baseball. They've played for a long time. They go through slumps, and it just happens that the slumps start at the beginning of the season. There's going to be a month Matt Olson has an OPS in the 7s or maybe in the 6s, and no one's going to be freaking out because it's in the middle of May, or not in the middle of May, in the middle of like August, right? But if you start the season with an OPS in the 6s or in the 5s, like Yaz has had, now a 586 OPS, even with the double today, maybe not ideal, but progress I think can be made, and I have faith that they'll work through some of their issues, and Riley will improve, and Yaz will improve, and Olsen's not going to maintain a 1,000 OPS. Ozzy's not going to maintain an 836 OPS. That's fine. Dubon's already cooled off some. He didn't have the homer today to to send Phil Maton to the Shadow Realm. Soft luck loss for Imanaga. He carved for 7 innings, but yeah, go Braves.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. I think that's going to do it, though, for us here on today's podcast. I want to thank you all for tuning in. Make sure you go ahead and send us each a follow here. You can go follow the podcast here at LAR_baseball. You can go follow me at the Sports Guy 242. You can go follow Mac at Mathias_A_K. And you can go follow Splash at Mrs. Splashman19. Make sure to leave us a subscribe and a like on YouTube here, or it's like a 5-star review on Spotify if you enjoyed having our time. We love that we're finally getting to do live streams and interact with you guys in live time. It is a lot of fun to get to do. So thank you all to everyone who came out for the live stream. Have a great rest of your day. Stay safe, and I hope to see you all real soon.
Go crazy, folks! Go crazy! It's a home run!